Alright, so for today's warm-up, I want you guys to give about 2 or 3 examples as to how you changed mentally and physically from the moment you were born to now. Like, what have you done differently in the way you think, or in what you do, in the way you act or behave? Like, that's for mentally, right? So how have you changed mentally from the moment you were born to now? And physically, what has changed in your appearance? How did you look before? How do you look now? So take about 5 to 10 minutes to think about that, and give me 2 or 3 examples of how you changed mentally and physically, and then we're going to discuss it as a class. Okay, so let's go over some examples that you came up with for mental and physical changes from the moment you were born to now. Like, what has changed about us? Right? So, mentally, what has changed mentally? Good. So we have more independence now. We are able to do things on our own without, without needing other people's help. So you're more independent in that sense, right? So independent thinkers. Not only are you able to think independently, obviously when you're younger, you're still able to think independently, but you weren't able to execute it. You weren't able to do it because there might have been problems. You weren't tall enough. You weren't able to do something because it was out of reach, or you weren't able to do something because you just weren't allowed, because you're young. Whatever the case may be, what I'm saying is you mentally changed, or you mentally grew, because now you're able to be independent thinkers, and on top of that, you're able to do things on your own, right? So you could be thinking like, oh, you want to paint something, but then when you're younger, sometimes you weren't able to do that because your parents didn't want it to be messy, or you just couldn't get the supplies yourself. But now you're able to do that, right? So now, even though you were independent thinking, as in, oh, I wanted to paint, now you're able to execute that. Now you're able to do that, okay, without anyone stopping you or without any limitations, okay? So what is some other examples of how you mentally grew? Good. So another example could be you have more empathy for others. You understand things a lot better. So when you're younger, right? Obviously you understand things, but it would always be the question of, why do I have to do this? Or what is that for? Like, it was always why? But now, as you get older, you understand why, right? Like when you were younger and your mom didn't let you do something, you'd be like, why can't I do that? Because you didn't understand, like, why wasn't I able to do that? But then when you get older, you realize, oh, she didn't let me do that because of X, Y, Z, right? Because you just understand a lot more, which is great. And then you also get empathy. Empathy means you know how you are understanding of how others feel. So as you get older, mentally, this grows, right? It improves, it changes, because you're able to put yourself in other people's shoes. You're able to understand your classmates' feelings, or you're able to understand your friends' feelings a lot better when you get older compared to when you were younger. Okay? All right, so let's go to physical changes. So how have you changed physically from when you were younger to now? Yes, right? The obvious. When you were younger, you were so tiny. You were a little tiny baby, and now, look at you. Right? I'm still tiny, but, we all grow. We grew something, right? So, height changed. We got taller. Weight changed. We might have gotten heavier. Well, yeah, we gotten heavier. And I also have an image to show you guys the development of us, right? So as humans, we start out as a baby, and then we become a little kid, and then we're a bigger kid, and then we're like a teenager, then we're an adult, and then we're old, we're elderly, or we're seniors, right? So That's our physical change, right? So we first start out small and then we get bigger. Just like how I said with height and weight, right? So height, small, bigger. Weight, same thing. We were light and then now we're heavier, okay? And then other changes in physical. Other physical changes might be like in the picture. What is the baby doing? Is the baby standing or is he crawling? Crawling, right? So when we were younger, we were able to like crawl when we were babies. We were crawling. But then as we get older, we were able to walk, run, we were able to do so many other different things. So these are a couple examples of how we developed and changed mentally.